Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Questrade's webinar series. Thank you for joining us. My name is Maria, and I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. Our webinar topic today is putting your investments on autopilot. We're joined by Alex Sutherland from the account management tool Passiv. Before I introduce Alex to you and pass over the presentation to him, let's quickly go over the agenda, and I have some notes to share with you as well. Our agenda today is the introduction, which is this section right here, some important notes. I'll briefly introduce Passiv and our speaker. Then we'll have the main event. We'll learn about what Passiv is, how it works, how you can benefit from it, and more. There will also be a demo so you can see how easy it is to use in real time. At the end of our session today, there will be a live question and answer period. Please submit your questions as you think of them throughout the presentation, and our team will keep a list so we can get to your questions at the end of the webinar today. Today's session will be recorded. We'll have the on-demand version available early next week. If you have to leave early or would like to rewatch an important section, we've definitely got you covered. Keep an eye on your email inbox for the recording. If you have any questions during the presentation for Alex, please type them into the Q&A window available at the bottom of the Zoom interface. We'll get to as many as we can at the end of the presentation. And if you're having any technical issues or have general questions about Questrade or trading, please feel free to message one of our Questrade support agents via direct chat. And now on to Alex Sutherland. He is an expert on all things passive and will take us through the ins and outs of using passive. He will show us a demo later on and will answer the questions that you've submitted through the Q&A tool. Take it away, Alex.
My name is Alex. I'm a member of the marketing team here at Passiv, and I've been at Passiv for a little over 1 year, having originally started as a QA and support role. The purpose of today's webinar is to help you automate your investments and increase your wealth using Passiv and Questrade together. Right now, we'll go through this slide deck, and I'll show you and explain some of the features that Passiv offers. Following the deck, we'll move into a video demonstration of the app, followed by a Q&A. If at any time in the presentation there's something you miss, don't worry. We're going to send a recording of this presentation within approximately a week so you can look at it later. But if you do have any questions right away, you can always email me at support@passiv.com. So let's begin with why you would like to use Passiv. Passiv has utility for both new and experienced investors. While most investing tools charge a % of overall value fee, Passiv for Questrade users is free. Questrade users get the full access to Passiv Elite features for free. All you need is an active Questrade account. With Passiv, we try to make it as customizable as possible to accommodate all users. Passiv eliminates the need for Excel sheets and makes DIY investing accessible to all users. Passiv saves users time with features like one-click trades. This feature allows users to place batch orders instead of one order at a time. I should note, Passiv is not a robo-advisor. Passiv does not give any trade suggestions. Instead, Passiv makes trade suggestions based on the asset targets that the user sets. To expand on this a bit, Passiv will not execute trades automatically and will not tell you what assets you should buy without the asset not already being in your portfolio. So who's it for? Passiv is designed for both new and existing investors. Existing investors get to ditch the spreadsheets and are greeted with our simpler and friendly UI. Our notification system makes it easy to stay in the loop and up to date with your investments, and our reporting feature shows which assets are paying off the most for you. With Passiv, you can also easily manage another person's account, be it a family member or perhaps a separate fund such as an RESP. For new investors, we try to keep things as simple as possible by offering tooltips throughout the app as well as guided tours. We also have a variety of tutorials users can use to get the most out of Passiv's features. So how does Passiv work exactly? So the way Passiv works is Passiv connects to Questrade via API and reads the data from your Questrade account. In order to successfully connect to Passiv, you need to have a Questrade account with the active status. The active status means that you have to have a minimum balance of $1,000 and have had the account open for between 1 to 3 business days. Depending on time of day, if you're using instant deposit, your account may be active and able to spend same day. Once your account is active, you can keep funding it with Questrade's pad feature, or pre-authorized deposits. With pre-authorized deposits, you can make sure your account is always adequately funded to use Passiv to its fullest extent. Passiv offers many integrations, but for the optimal experience, we recommend using Questrade. With Passiv, you can set a target portfolio and exclude assets that you don't want in your account. You have the ability to pick and choose exactly which assets you want to include in your target portfolio. When you apply the target portfolio, your accuracy value is calculated. The accuracy is measuring how close you are with the assets in your account to your set target portfolio. So in this picture, you can see the blue line is the target, and then the green is the actual, and the way that the trades are suggested are based on comparing those two values. Exclusive to Questrade users, Passiv uses the one-click trade feature. One-click trades will tell you what trades to execute and in which accounts based on the cash available and let you place them all at once. This allows users who are handling many assets or many accounts or both to place large quantities of trades and not have to input them one by one. For example, if you have 3 accounts connected, each with 10 assets, if you wanted to balance or rebalance your portfolio, it would take a bunch of order entries to balance, approximately 30. Whereas with Passiv, you could just do it with one click. I should note regarding the cash available and calculating trades, Passiv calculates trades based on net cash. So with margin accounts, if you're into margin, then it will not generate trades if your net cash is negative. So Passiv has dividend reporting for each asset in the account. And if you're not a dividend investor, don't worry, you have the ability to turn this section off. Additionally, Passiv also has an activities tab where you can export your account activities within Questrade to CSV to either save locally for tracking or maybe even do your own analysis with. So what else can Passiv do? Passiv's notification system helps investors stay up to date by providing emails when events happen within the account, such as new cash is deposited, a dividend comes in, a trade is made, and many more. The portfolio drift emails are sent when the investor's target portfolio dips below the threshold. This threshold is set by default at 90% within the account settings. So that is in reference to the accuracy in the portfolio. So in the previous slide, it was 99%. So if that dropped below 90%, we would send an email and say, hey, you need to rebalance or allocate more funds toward the target. So with those email notifications and reporting, Passiv makes it easy to prioritize your own personal DRIP or dividend reinvestment plan. So now you know exactly when the money's coming in and how much money's coming in, so you can use that to allocate accordingly to your own investments. Passiv also allows users to create their own custom goals and track them within the app. Passiv demonstrates how to build a goal inside the app, and we'll show you how to do that within the demo. And you can even pin the goal to the dashboard so you can see it every time you come in. And of course, any numbers shown here are just for illustrative purposes, as well as any numbers that are shown in the demonstration in the video. If you're looking to follow the dollar cost averaging methodology, then Passiv has advanced currency handling and cash management rules to make this easier. With features such as separate currencies, retain cash, avoiding excessive Forex fees, and allocate at most or retain at least cash management rules, Passiv helps users manage their dollar cost averaging strategy. These features are great for users who trade in multiple currencies, allowing them to rebalance without having to worry about Forex fees. For cash management rules, we will be showing this in the demo as well. Passiv makes it easy to manage multiple accounts and connections. You can easily handle your partner's TFSA or RRSP and any other accounts within your Questrade portfolio. You can set up different portfolios or group them all within one account. So that's a summary of some of the features and benefits that Passiv offers. We do have some more that we didn't get too in depth into today, such as model portfolios and asset classes. But there is one more feature that I would like to mention that we are working on, and that is scheduled purchases. So we are in the early stages of scheduled purchases, which we've kind of split into 3 different parts. The first part is manual order entry, which is allowing users to place single trades within the app, including limit orders. This is available now, and in the slideshow here, you can see this is what the form looks like. So when you import your portfolio, you can navigate to a little button that says manual trade, click on that, and say if you get 10 trade suggestions and you don't want to make them all at once, you only want to make 1 or 2 trades, you can do that within Passiv as well within the manual order entry. The next phase will be allowing users to place trades in the weekend or outside of market hours. And how that'll work is we'll just queue up the trades, and then as soon as the market opens on Monday, we'll place them. And then the final stage would be allowing users to create their own designated rules, such as buying a certain asset at the end of the month, or buying a certain asset bi-weekly, or kind of customizable rules that they could use to allocate their funds. So as always, keep an eye on your email for updates. We send out monthly Passiv updates, which usually announce our new features, but for major features such as this, we will send out a designated email. And then if you have any questions or feedback about this presentation or the subsequent demo, please reach out to support@passiv.com. Then myself or one of the other team members will help answer any questions, or if you need a hand setting up, we can help with that as well. So that concludes the slideshow portion of this presentation. And now we'll move into the video demo. Once connected to Passiv, you'll be guided through our onboarding system. We support a diverse list of connections, including international brokerages, crypto, and wealth aggregation tools. As always, with a Questrade connection, you get access to Passiv Elite for free. So here we'll connect to Questrade. When you click connect, you'll be redirected to a Questrade authorization page where you will have to log in and then authorize the request. After successfully connecting to Questrade, you'll see a summary of your connection details, including the name, what account is connected or multiple accounts, and then also the status of the connection. By default, we connect to view only, and for trade privileges, you have to reconnect later. The next step in the onboarding process is choosing your different membership level. We have 2 membership options with Passiv. The community option is the free user option and allows users to have access to the rebalancing calculations, but not access to all the elite features. So as a Questrade user, you do get Elite for free, which means you have access to features such as one-click trades and advanced currency handling. The next step is grouping your accounts or choosing how you want to set up your portfolios. By default, we would set up each account in its own separate portfolio, but you can group them accordingly and have multi-accounts in one single portfolio, which is one of the benefits of Passiv. So now you're effectively connected to Passiv. The next step is to create or import your portfolio. In Passiv, we try to make things as customizable as possible for the user. So you can change the name of your portfolio or the account name. So for this example, I'm going to name this portfolio Retirement. On your first connection, you have the option to either import all of your assets and set up a model automatically, or build your own custom model. We'll do both, but the first step will be to import all of our assets. From here, you can choose to change the allocation percentage to whatever you'd like, as long as it adds up to 100. And then if you want to remove certain assets and build a slightly different portfolio, or what we call excluded assets, you can do that as well by clicking on the X. Then at the bottom, there's also the search for the security bar, and you can add assets that you technically don't own yet, but you have the goal of owning in the future, and Passiv will suggest trades in order to buy those. Here you can see all the trades you need in order to hit your target. The number you see, 72%, is your portfolio accuracy. It is calculated from how far you are away from your desired target. Based on your cash available, Passiv then generates trades on which assets to buy to get closer to your target, which would be 100%. Visually, we show your actual values as bars and the target as notches or markers on the bar. Passiv prioritizes cash allocation based on your lowest actual to target percentage, which would be the furthest green bar from the blue notch. Once we click Reset on the portfolio, it totally resets the portfolio to a blank slate. This doesn't remove any assets from your account, it just removes the portfolio lens that you have over the account. Now you can see there is a new item which says Use an existing model on the far right. So every model portfolio you create is saved in your own little model database under the My Models section, so you can always reapply the model later if you accidentally reset. So now I will build a new model using a 2 ETF model as an example. Once you search the securities you want, you can then change the percent allocation to desired amount. Alternatively, we do have the Equalize button, which equally distributes the percent allocation to the n number of assets in your portfolio. Now we can see a few changes to the appearance. The accuracy has gone way down because you have omitted most of the assets in your account. Because of all the omitted assets, only a small number of trades have been generated. You can also see the new assets detected. Passiv has detected a bunch of assets that are not in your target but are in your account. Clicking that opens a list of assets from when you can choose if you want to add it into the portfolio or exclude it entirely. Excluded assets are still in your account but won't be added to a target. These assets won't be included in calculations and we will not recommend to buy. For now, we will exclude them all, and now the percentage is way more accurate for your desired portfolio. If you want to check on how all of your assets are doing, including excluded assets, you can click the second tab from the overview, which is typically the name of the account, in this instance, Corporation Margin. And there you'll see a list of all the assets in your account, how many shares you own, the profit and loss for each, as well as the currency they're in. If at any time you want to unexclude an asset from your portfolio, you can navigate to the portfolio settings, open the assets exclusion list, and then add it back into the portfolio. While in the portfolio settings, you can also see some more features which Passiv offers, such as the selling feature. This will allow you to sell any overweight assets you have relative to your target in order to balance your portfolio. If we turn on the selling feature and then go back to the overview, you'll see that our trades have disappeared. This is because we don't have any assets in the portfolio that are considered overweight. If we unexclude 2 of these assets, we will then get sell order trades suggested. This is because the assets are technically not excluded and also not part of the portfolio, therefore are treated as a priority sell in order to rebalance the overall portfolio. Additionally, if we do add them to the model portfolio, because we haven't actually given them an allocation percentage, any assets that are re-added to a model portfolio are already set at a 0% allocation target, which means if you own any of the asset, we're going to suggest to sell it in order to purchase more of the assets in your target. So this is one of the best features of Passiv. With the sell and the buys, you can now do both of these trades at once through clicking preview orders and then executing the trades. This would be significantly more difficult and take many more steps if you were to do it single-handedly. So for now, we will navigate to portfolio settings and toggle off the selling in order to continue with this tutorial. By default, notify me about newly detected assets is turned on, but you have total customization whether you want that on or not. Keep currencies separate allows users to only buy assets in their respective currency. For example, if you have USD and CAD, with this toggled on, you will only buy USD denominated assets and CAD denominated assets in their respective currencies. Below that, you can find our cash management feature. Cash management allows you to retain at least or allocate at most in cash in any account. This is an ideal feature for someone who is looking to follow the dollar cost averaging principle. Now for demonstration purposes, we're going to set up a cash management rule to allocate at most $30 Canadian. Now you can see that the trades have been adjusted accordingly and we're only spending at most $30, so the price listed plus the estimated commission. As I mentioned earlier, when you place trades, you do need to reconnect again just one more time to confirm that you do want tradability in your account. So same process applies, you just authorize via Questrade and then connect. Returning to the trades page again, we can see the buy order is still in effect. So we're going to click preview order, which will basically check with the API and with Questrade that you have enough cash available to make this trade. Once that is done, you can click execute order. Then once the order is executed, you'll get a summary page here, and you also get an email that will give you a summary of the order you just executed. With cash management, the trades will keep repopulating as long as you have cash available to trade. Additionally, if you don't want to place one-click trades or batch order trades, you can also use the manual trade feature, which opens a small modal and will let you make your own custom trades however you'd like. Throughout Passiv, we try to be as transparent as possible. Everything tends to have a tooltip, which is the little small question marks that you can hover over and get more information about. For the trades, you can open the explanation, and then it will list the current exchange rate, as well as if you have cash management rules apply and how much they are. We do try our best to estimate the Forex fees and the fees when purchasing assets. Now that you're connected and everything's working okay, we're going to return to the dashboard. This is the default page for login with Passiv. Once you're at this page, you can see that we do have a customized dashboard feature, which will allow you to change how the dashboard looks. It also allows you to decide how you want the reporting to look in terms of the graphs on the dashboard. Now, navigating down the sidebar, we've already covered the retirement portion, which is the name of the portfolio, and the corporation margin, which is the name of the account. So once you click on My Models, you can see a database of all the models you have created, as well as what portfolios they are applied in. You can also edit the models here, and the changes will be reflected in their applied portfolios. However, if you do apply one portfolio to multiple accounts, you cannot edit the portfolio with multiple applications. You would have to unapply one of them so only one is applied at a time and then edit it that way. Passiv has built-in and customizable reporting. Passiv's reporting tracks your contributions and total value of the portfolio. Visually, you can see the month-over-month or yearly changes in your portfolio with the graphs. Passive standard ranges are 1 year, year-to-date, and all-time. As noted earlier, we do have the tooltips, the little question marks, adjacent to every item on the reporting page, which kind of gives you a brief description of what each section covers. With customization, you can also customize the reporting page, such as removing dividend section entirely, or changing how the graph looks if you want it to be more precise or smoothed out. We've also recently deployed our new activities table. This reads in all activities from Questrade and lets you sort through whatever activities you've done in your account and just makes it easier to find what you're looking for. We also allow you to export it to CSV if you want to save it in your own personal device. Passiv also allows users to create custom goals tied to accounts. Here I will make a new goal called Millionaire, and I want to be a millionaire by 2030. After naming the goal, you'll be able to select all the accounts or a single account for the goal to follow. Then you can choose your desired amount as well as the timeline for approximate completion. From here, you can change different metrics in the goal in order to visualize reaching your goal. So by default, we calculate how much you'd approximately have to put in at a 0% rate of return in order to reach this goal by your set date. So in order for me to be a millionaire by 2030, I would have to deposit almost $10,000 a month, which is a little unrealistic. So in order to make it a little more attainable, I'm going to set it to 2050 as the date and then set an annual return rate in order to show that I am gaining some return for my investment. If you click Show Detailed View, you can see the different lines and how each portion makes up the total projected amount. So now that I have a timeline of approximately 2050 with an annual return rate of 8%, I need to play around with the contribution amount in order to find out how much exactly I would need to contribute. So it works out to around $800, so I'll change that to $800. And then now I click Update Goal and it saves the goal. Another feature of goals is that you could pin it to the dashboard so that you always see your goal when you log in. So if you click on the 3 ellipses right next to the name, you can see the toggle that says Display Goal on Dashboard. So we will toggle that on, and then you have to make sure you click Update Goal so it saves and it will pin to the dashboard. Once we return to the dashboard, you can see that the goal is saved and showing my progress. Passiv also offers a referral program where you earn $20 for every person you bring to Passiv and who upgrades to Elite. Additionally, if you choose to not accept the referral money, you can donate to a charity directly. So we do have a charity option that you can choose instead of receiving the $20 amount. Finally, we navigate to settings, which can be a little intimidating because there's a lot going on, but we try to make sure that we have a description for everything. And again, if you have any issues navigating the app or any questions at all, never hesitate to contact Passiv support. We do offer third-party authentication for login. For in-app walkthroughs, those are the little orange dots you see throughout the app. If you click on those, we will focus on certain points within the app and give you quick little almost slideshow tours of what those functions do and how they work. From here in settings, you can customize your notification emails, such as trade confirmation emails like we got earlier, and drift reminders. So if your portfolio drifts too much and you need to allocate some more funds, this will let you know about that. Drift reminders are sent out once you drop below the target percentage. Settings is also where users can go to manage their connections and their portfolios. Here, they can choose if they want to have a view only or a view and trade connection, as well as move around accounts. We are an open source project, so we do have an open source API which users can use. So this is just a taste of what Passiv offers, as we have not touched on advanced features such as asset classes. We also have a couple more features in the works, which we're going to be launching shortly. However, if you want to gain more from Passiv, we do suggest following along with the blog posts as well as checking in with our tutorials, as we do try to keep those as up to date as possible, especially with new features. We hope to conduct another webinar in the future on asset classes and hopefully display some other new features we have in the works. Thanks again. Okay, so that concludes the main portion of the presentation. For now, I'll stop the screen share, and now we can proceed to Q&A.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Alex, for the presentation and the demo. We have lots of questions in our Q&A section. The first one I want to ask you is we have a couple questions about the security of Passiv. So how secure are our customers' details, considering you're a third-party company, and are their finances secure with you?
Yeah, so we do prioritize security. We don't save any information other than what's necessary in order to connect to the API in order to get information from Questrade. But the way it works is because we're connecting via API, it's more secure than a standard connection. So we're connecting that way, and then we make everything as secure as possible. We're working with one of our new employees who's working with Cybersecure Canada to be a cybersecure business, and we try to make sure everything's super secure behind a VPN, and we do as much as we can for cybersecurity.
Great, thank you. Next, we have a more specific question. A user here has set the target allocation of cash to 0%, but they would like to completely exclude cash from their portfolio on Passiv. Is there a way to do that?
Currently, that is not available. That is something we are aware of. We know some people just want to remove cash, but we don't have that availability right now. But we are looking at that in the future. That would probably be included with adding margin support, because like I mentioned, we only support margin when the net cash is above zero. We don't support the leverage and the use of margin. So when that rolls out, that'll probably be about the same time, because I imagine the functionality will be similar. So not at the moment, but we are aware, and we would like to add that in the future.
Okay, great, thank you. And now another person is asking, if you connect your account to Passiv, can someone still manage their account on Questrade, or is the account just living on Passiv?
No. So when you connect to Passiv, you can still do whatever you need to on Questrade. We sync with Questrade every I think it's once an hour approximately, unless there's new data from the Questrade end, then we'll pull that right away. So if you make a trade on Questrade, basically it'll refresh on Passiv, and you'll get a notification that says, hey, you just bought this asset on Questrade. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to add it to your portfolio, or do you want to exclude it? So, and you can use either app, either Passiv or Questrade, and they work totally interchangeably.
Great. And can you explain to us, Alex, how using Passiv is different or better than investing in auto-balanced ETFs?
Yeah, so I guess the main benefit for Passiv over an auto balance ETF is that with Passiv, you get to control it yourself, and you kind of get the learning experience of building your own portfolio and deciding, when you want to balance. Auto balance tend to be balanced at certain times, whereas you have full control with Passiv. And that's kind of the main benefit, is for self-directed investors to kind of make sure that they get the benefit themselves and not have to pay the management fees as well.
Okay, great. And if someone chooses to, they can still have ETFs in their Passiv portfolio, or in their portfolio while connected to Passiv anyway, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, you can also have ETFs as well. If you want to have your own, if you want to add the auto balance ETFs to like your own portfolio and balance that way through Passiv, you can do that as well.
Okay, awesome. And everyone, please keep the questions coming if they come to you while you're hearing the rest of them. These are very interesting. Okay, so if someone has positions at brokerages that Passiv does not integrate with, will they be able to see them in their overall asset makeup, or can you just not see them at all?
So at the moment, you won't be able to see any sort of mutual funds or options or bonds within Passiv if you're connecting directly to Questrade. If you're looking for external brokerage information, you can add other connections. So if you want to have a Questrade account and then have an IBKR or even a Wealthica account with a bunch of different information, you can connect them that way and see them, but they're read only. You can't do any trades with them. But we do not allow manual entry, so you can't like add a house value or like a life insurance policy as like a manual entry holdings. So we don't allow that right now, but that is something again that we would like to add in the future.
Great, thank you. Excuse me. Is there one button to be able to close all the positions in an account with Passive, or do we have to do it one by one?
For open positions, we do have an orders section where you can just navigate to, and then it'll list your open orders. We don't have a button that closes all of them, but you can keep them open, and then we'll just calculate based on the cash available outside of those orders. So if you have $1,000 and you have, say, $500 allocated in an order or a pending order, like a limit order, then we'll only generate trades for $500 of that cash, excluding that limit order set aside amount. So no, not really, but we can work around it with our calculations.
How is the P&L calculated? Does it include the commissions?
So the P&L that we use is taken right from the Questrade platform as it's calculated on their end. And as far as I know, it does not include commissions.
Okay, excellent. And does Passive support cryptos at this time?
Yes, we do. So we do have crypto support. We currently support in Canada. Our main Canadian supports are BitBuy and I guess Kraken. And then we also have a couple other crypto brokerages such as UnoCoin, which we work with. And then we're kind of finalizing a few more right now. And also looking at another one called Coin API, which has a bunch of different crypto ones together. So you can integrate that way.
Okay, excellent. And the Elite plan we learned is free for Questrade users. So is this for a limited time or will the Questrade customers start being charged for it one day?
So as of right now, it's ongoing and we have no end date in sight. So it's on a yearly basis. We'll kind of renew it that way. So you'll get Elite for free. And if something were to happen and Questrade decided to withdraw the offer, then you would get to maintain that amount until your next renewal date, basically. So if you renewed in February and somehow in maybe March or April they decided to pull the offer, then you'd be good till the next February. And we don't bill automatically anyways. We don't need credit card information. So you'll be prompted to enter your credit card that way.
Awesome. That's great to know.
Mm-hmm.
Is asset allocation reporting available for the percent equity, percent fixed, percent cash, et cetera?
So that'd be specific reporting for each. Not right now. We are working on a potential data analytics or more advanced reporting feature, which may or may not include that, but that is definitely something that we want to look into.
Okay, great. There are more questions, but they seem to be more specific to people's unique situations. So if you do have any questions we didn't answer here, please feel free to email support@passiv.com. And Passive does not have an E at the end, just as a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks everyone for attending and participating in our webinar today. Please keep an eye out for the post-webinar survey. We definitely want to make sure that the topics of our future webinars are what you want to learn about and attend as well. So that information is really valuable to us and I hope to you as well. So thanks again, everyone. And that concludes our webinar today.
Thank you everyone for coming and listening.